All right, welcome to the Freedom Framework. And the first thing I want you to do, it's going to sound a little cheesy, but it's really powerful. It's connected to this idea of you need to approach your kid with a certain energy, right? A deep belief that when you're talking to them, you're really going to bring out the best version of them and that they really want to bring that best version out themselves. We're not trying to fix them or change them. So we call this the anchor photo strategy. And what I want you to do is just take 3, 4, 5 minutes, go through your photos on your phone and pick out a photo of you and your kid that exemplifies joy, connection, love. Something that kind of takes you back to a moment in time or to you at your best connecting with your kid. And then we need to hold on to that energy. None of these strategies I show you are going to be as effective as they could be if you're not channeling like that kind of energy and that approach with your kid. So take some time. I'm going to put mine up right here as kind of an example. And this one's a little like silly, funny, you know, a little out of control. It doesn't have to be like that. All right, I'll show you another one here. That's me and my son hiking in Maine. And that's more of like him and I doing our thing, right? Him and I love being in nature. So those are 2 examples. Go ahead, take a quick couple of minutes to do that. All right, so you got that photo. Right now, you're just kind of like feeling the vibes, right? The joy, the connection. If you didn't, please make sure you do that. It is so important. And I actually have that one photo like hanging up in my office. It's something I'm always trying to connect with and to live out is that emotion and that connection. Now, we're gonna get into, and I think this is helpful to a lot of parents, what are the 4 different types of teenagers, right? But I just want you to keep in mind, our kids exhibit these different behaviors, feelings, and the stories they tell themselves. They exhibit those at different times. Like on different days, at different moments, they are different types, okay? But it just helps us start to conceptualize what do they need the most work on right now? Like, what are you feeling right now? Are you feeling the quiet kid, the angry kid? Are you feeling the stressed kid, or are you feeling this escaping kid? They're finding other habits and things to kind of escape from life. Those are the 4 types, and I'm gonna break them down for you really quick on the whiteboard, so let's hop over there. All right, so parents, I'm gonna talk you through the Freedom Framework just like I would approach a kid, and I'm gonna focus on a kid that is quieter than normal. I wouldn't say a quiet kid, but a kid that's not sharing as much information with you or others as much as they normally do, okay? So I wanna talk you through Sarah's story. We're calling her Sarah. Sarah got permission to go to a party with some friends from mom and eventually found out there were not gonna be any parents there. So she thought she should probably tell her mom, so she let mom know, and then mom got really upset, really loud, and you know, I think looking back would say overreacted, as we all do, no judgment, and you're not going to the party, you're not going anywhere that day, blah, 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 right? But to Sarah, that communicated to her that I can't tell my mom everything about my personal life, about where I go with my friends, that I might have to hide some things because it doesn't feel safe to share. She might yell at me or make me feel bad or make me feel like she doesn't trust me. Sometimes even, I'm not gonna tell her to protect her, right? Because she doesn't get it. So those are all things that Sarah was feeling. So the limiting story was that you can't trust mom. Hi, baby girl. Sorry, my daughter's waving to me through the door. All right, let go. So the next step of this process is to actually, I will talk through this with a kid, right? Like, hey, why don't you trust mom? Is that serving you by not talking to mom about friends and places you're going, right? And we'll like talk about that. And then usually it'll surface that, well, you know, mom cares about me. Mom's trying to protect me. You probably want her in your corner, right? You want to talk to her about these things. And then as a parent, you want to be able to talk about those things as well, right? So there is a way to talk about these things and to even say, no, you're not doing that, without breaking the trust. Those two things can exist. So step 2 is letting go of this story, which is limiting her, not serving her, and then replacing it with a freedom story. And this usually, they actually kind of happen at the same exact time. And I might ask a kid, what would it look like if you did share where you wanted to go, who's going to be there, who's not going to be there, with mom, right? Shared about friends and even like relationships. What would it look like to do that and to feel like you were being heard and that mom was letting you be part of the decision-making process and mom was not overreacting? Like, what would that look like? And that is a possibility, right? And then all we have to do is figure out, how do we get there? So the freedom story is, mom loves, protects, and guides her. She wants that guidance, right? And what is the next key move? What's one thing in the next week? I usually I say just pick something small to move the needle forward, to get some momentum. And for Sarah, it was write a letter to mom, and you don't even have to give it to her, right? Because that's the stress. That the second I say, like, oh yeah, you got to give this letter to mom, they're like, sorry, hyperventilating. No, they start to panic, and then they can't even write the letter. So I said, hey, write the letter, hold on to the letter. At least you're envisioning what it would look like to have that conversation. You're envisioning future conversations where you're open and honest and trusting with mom. And that alone will do a lot for your relationship and how you treat each other. And then I said, hey, eventually, like, if you ever want to, you can, and if you feel comfortable and there's a little bit of like an opening in a conversation, then you talk to mom, all right? Or give her the letter. And you know what? She wrote the letter, and then before she even saw me the next week, she talked to mom. There was an opening, all right? So that is what the freedom framework would kind of look like with a kid that is quiet, and then every week you just work on something new. Hello, how are you? Ooh, a princess sticker. Thank you so much. Oh, 2 princess stickers. Are you sure you don't want a princess sticker? No. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I'll put one up here. How's that? All right, so there it is. You got the freedom framework. And like I said, you can really just plug in whatever their wound is, right, based on their personality type, or should I say which type of challenge they're currently experiencing. Are they going quiet? Are they feeling stressed? Are they acting out? Are they escaping to social media and video games? And then based on that, you're going to figure out what story are they telling themselves, and then you can walk through that whole freedom framework. If you want more on this, somewhere over here, I don't know which side, but there's going to be a video you can click on to get an in-depth example for each type of kid and how I would approach them personally with stories of kids I've worked with. That will probably be really helpful to you if you're not feeling confident right now based on what you're experiencing at home. I also want to say, if you're here this long and you made it this far, it would probably be good for you to join our newsletter. I send out a weekly video, and I just put together a little bit of information in the email about a strategy or an approach that you can use with your teenager to support them. And I would also recommend you consider, if you want to move faster, you want to move the needle on supporting your teen, and if you feel like you might need a little extra help, just reach out to me about one-to-one coaching. I offer online. I also do in person. I'm located in northern New Jersey in the Morristown area. So if you are within 30-35 minutes, then it's definitely a possibility that we could get one-to-one coaching together. If not, the virtual does work, and kids make a ton of progress through that process. So I'm wishing you the best to you and your teen, and I hope to see you in the next video.